Good Wednesday morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me this morning for Casual Coffee with Ken. I'm Ken, and we made it. It's Wednesday, halfway through the week already. This is another one of those weeks where everything seems to be going by very quickly and yet very slowly at the same time. I'm not sure how exactly that works. I don't know what it is that causes that strange feeling of it feeling like it's taking forever to get through the week, but then it's also going by too quick for you to keep track of things that you're supposed to be doing. Somehow those two states coexist together in time, and I don't get it. But here it is. Anyway, I hope you have been having a good week so far. Hope your Monday and Tuesday treated you well, and that today will be no exception in that regard. So if you're new here, this is a weekday show that I do where I share with you fun, sometimes inspiring, almost always interesting stories that caught my eye and that I thought it would be fun to share with other people. I do this for a couple of reasons. One is to help deal with my personal problems with anxiety and depression, and two, just to counteract all of the bad news that is broadcast on the normal mainstream news channels and websites, because we know that's what drives ad revenue. But I don't like it, so I do this instead. And good morning, Tricia. Hope you're doing well this morning. Hope your Wednesday's off to a good start. If you are new to the program, you can comment whether you're watching on Twitch or YouTube or Facebook, and I will see the comments and I can bring them up into the show just like I did just now for Tricia's. So, yeah. Noticing that I'm having a little problems today with my exposure levels in the background. That's always kind of weird. Not a big deal. If it looks like it's happening inside a club somewhere, it's not. It just seems to be doing that. I don't know. It's weird. Hello, Sean. How are you? Okay, so this is as good a time as any to jump into my tea of the day, which is absolutely one of my favorites from David's. It's awesome. Let me just go ahead and bring up the graphic, why don't I? It's Gingerbread Blondie, and I can't remember if I already featured this tea or not, but trust me, it's amazing. And when they say blondie, they truly mean it, because look at that color. It almost looks like apple cider. It's a very light tea, and this is after steeping for about 7 minutes. It is a caffeine-free tea. I'll show you over here on David's site so you can see. Oh my God. And you can really taste the ginger. It's amazing how well the ginger flavor comes through. So you can see they have it broken out by size as far as how many cups of tea you'll get. And they further break that out by iced tea versus hot tea. So if you buy 2 ounces of tea, they're estimating you're going to get 15 to 20 8-ounce cups of hot tea from it, and 10 to 15 cups, 8-ounce cups of iced tea. And then, of course, that will change depending on how many ounces you have picked. But it has those, they describe it as lively notes of ginger and spice, and you can definitely taste the ginger. It's great. They use candied ginger, but it tastes amazing. Here, let me do a close-up. How fun is that? There are little gingerbread men inside the tea. It's so good. It's just delicious. Again, David's Tea is not in any way a sponsor of this show, but I truly, Karina and I, love their assortment of teas. Just absolutely fantastic. And if you're if you have a cold, if you're feeling ill, the ginger tea in particular is really good. It's great anyway, but there's something extra soothing about ginger tea when you're not feeling well. Sean says it looks like apple cider. Yeah, it really does. Absolutely. So, anyway, again, welcome to the Wednesday show, and let's just go ahead and jump into it. I've changed the format of the show up a little bit, and I hope you enjoy kind of the new way I'm going to go about some of these things here. So, with that being said, let's get into news that's strange but true. So, we'll start off with this. It's a house, and you can probably see immediately what the problem is. And yeah, designed this way on purpose. No one lives there, obviously, but you can go inside and have your picture taken. So this is in South Africa, and as you can see in this photo there, the young lady is sitting on the ceiling, which is the floor, and all of the what looks to be extremely heavy furniture is on the ceiling, which is now the floor. I admire the engineering that went into this. I do not think that I would trust it enough to actually sit underneath it. I don't know. It's different. It's definitely accomplishing its mission, which was to attract tourists. The kitchen is also upside down, although they don't have any pictures of that. I definitely wouldn't sit underneath a stove that was mounted to the ceiling. Just couldn't do it. It's bad enough if that coffee table comes crashing down, but you know, if you want to, as the article states, see the world from a different perspective, and you happen to be in South Africa, this is a way to go about that, if you'd like. So yeah, that's a thing that exists, in case you're interested. So yeah, I don't have much else to say about that. It's very strange, but just imagining the effort it took to actually build a house that was constructed upside down on purpose. And I wonder, that's got to affect the engineering of that, right? The construction, so that it is, because the house, that's just a regular A-frame roof, right? I don't think they're normally capable of supporting the weight of an entire structure like that. There must have been a lot that went into that. That's what I'm saying. But you know, good on them. Why not? Certainly stranger things in the world. So yeah, that's our strange but true news for the day. And I wanted to start a segment where I introduce music to you, just songs that I've heard on one platform or another that I thought that kind of grabbed me in some way, and I went, oh, that would be fun, and I want to share those with you. So we'll see how this works, because platforms such as YouTube and Facebook and probably Twitch are very twitchy about copyright stuff. So I'm not going to play the whole song for you. going to play about 20 to 30 seconds, a sample of it, just so we can kind of get a taste, and maybe you'll like it, and maybe I won't get a copyright strike on my channel. We'll see. If that happens, then I'll have to rethink this segment, obviously. But today's song of the day is called Can We Kiss Forever? And the artist is named Kina, K-I-N-A. So here we go. I hope you enjoy it.
Across the ocean of my mind, I wonder here all my senses intensify. Whenever you and I would die. Across the ocean of my mind, but in the end I try to push it down.
So yeah, there you go. I heard that and it just really, I was like, wow, I like that. I'm gonna have to look into that artist more to see what the rest of their catalog sounds like. But I thought it was a cool, fun song, so I hope you enjoyed that. And if things go well and I don't have any negative repercussions on any of the various streaming platforms this is going out to, then I'll continue to do that segment. So anyway, hopefully that gave you a little boost to your morning there. So now the next story I want to talk about. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure they'd be like that. So ridiculous. You know, if the record companies want to make money, they should embrace people using copyrighted music. You just say, okay, look, if I want to use a copyrighted song in a video on YouTube, I should have the option to pay like $3 to use it in that one video, that one time. And there should just be a box you can check. You say, look, you should be able to search for the song on YouTube, and then there should be a couple of check boxes, and one of them would say, I'm checking this box because I want to use it one time in one video and it costs $3. Or there should be another box there that you can check that says, I'm going to be doing a cover of this song. And then there's a separate charge for that, or a different charge and separate. That kind of thing. And just do that. Just monetize it and let people use whatever music they want to use, and people will do it. I'm sure they would. I mean, why wouldn't they? So don't be stupid. Just incorporate that. All right. End of soapbox. So this next story, I initially wanted to do yesterday, but kind of ran out of time. So this one is fun. There's a guy up in Canada who, and you know, food for everybody is hard to do, especially food for the homeless. They are particularly disadvantaged when it comes to being able to eat regularly and eat well. So this gentleman in Canada saw that need firsthand and came up with what I feel was a very interesting solution to the problem. So that's going to be our story of the day. So the gentleman is named Tony Colley, and he, about 3 years ago, had a spate of very bad luck and didn't have much money. He was barely able to pay his rent when he went on welfare, but didn't have a lot of food to speak of. So he was working for various catering and events programs up in Canada, in Toronto. And he noticed how much surplus food there could be after these events. Because these types of event companies that serve food at functions base the amount of food that they're going to serve on headcount by tickets sold. And sometimes you don't always, not everybody shows up for whatever reason. So you have a lot of leftover food. And the particular company he was working for, they would let the employees take home food, but he noticed there was just so much that was just going to waste because it would be thrown out. And so he started a company that collects the leftover food from these events and then distributes it within an hour to a couple of the local homeless shelters there in Toronto. So he did some research, obviously, read an article that said Canada had a $31 billion food waste problem. So he launched his company, which is called B1 to Give. So it's a B1 to Give. It's awesome. I love it. It's a very clever name. And so what he did is basically he's kind of acting as an Uber Eats for the homeless. And so he will go to these catered events and take whatever leftover food is there and then deliver it to the shelters. He's looking for more partners. He's been partnering with a company called the Food Dudes. That's where he used to work when he came up with this idea. And so these companies will pay him a nominal fee to come by and pick up their uneaten food, their leftover food. And then he delivers it to the shelters. Now the problem he's encountered is that a lot of companies who do this kind of catering for events are worried, or they were worried about liability. They're worried about, well, if someone gets sick off of the food, we don't want to be sued. We don't, want any of the negative publicity that goes with it, kind of thing. But the thing is, there is a law on the books in Ontario, and it's called Ontario's Donation of Food Act. And that, in combination with the province's Good Samaritan Act, protects those people, companies who are willing to donate leftovers and fresh food. So if you're in Canada, I do occasionally have international viewers that watch this show. If you're in Canada and you run one of these event catering companies, or maybe you have a restaurant that frequently has leftover food at the end of the night, and you want to do some good with that food, apparently you don't have to worry about it in Ontario from a legal standpoint if someone happens to get ill from some food. And really, since Mr. Colley is able to pick up and deliver the food all within the space of like an hour to the intended recipients at these local homeless shelters, the chances of any kind of foodborne illness developing in that short of time is lowered extensively. He's not having to transport he's not even to transport the food over the space of a few hours or something where you'd have to worry about keeping it at a certain temperature or whatever. So anyway, this is an amazing, innovative approach, I thought, to reducing food waste and getting that food to people who really, really need it. It's brilliant. I love it. I would love to see something like this in the United States, although I don't know that we have the same kind of laws in place that would protect businesses as well as individuals in something, in an endeavor like this. But man, I think that was so cool. And he was particularly empathetic to the problem because he had been there recently in his life. And I think it's just brilliant. It's wonderful. I love stories like this. I love people who see a need and take action to meet it. It's brilliant. Everyone should do that. If you have an idea that is going to help other people, help people in your community, don't let anyone tell you you can't do it. Just do it. Do it. Tell people about your idea. Get smart people to help you out with it, because everyone's good at something, and you can make a difference. He estimates that he has saved and delivered enough food to serve 8,500 meals. And yeah, that's pretty cool. And Sean says, well, I love it. There's plenty of food to go around in North America. Yeah, we waste a lot of food here. Absolutely. So, and as always, at the end of the show, I'll go ahead and put links down below in the description areas of all the various streaming platforms for this. If you want to maybe donate, or you just want to learn more about what he's doing. Very cool. Very inspirational, I thought. So then that'll bring us to the final story for this fine Wednesday morning that we're having. And I'm calling this new section Kindness Matters. There's a lot of people who do seemingly little gestures that have a ripple effect that is so much more significant than anything they would have ever imagined when they started on whatever their little hobby or task might have been. So this particular lady, just in her spare time, has changed the lives of so many children. And I don't think she probably still doesn't realize the full effect of it, but it's inspiring nonetheless. And that's today's Kindness Matters story. So enjoy. So this woman in England has volunteered her time since 2016, knitting by hand more than 1,000 teddy bears for children in Africa. So she broke it down. It's an average of about 250 teddies a year. She also makes dresses, shorts, jumpers, blankets, and other knitted toys. And they are taken to Livingstone in Zambia by a northeast of England charity called Zambezi, or Zambezi, I'm not sure how you pronounce that, Sunrise Trust. And part of the way they raise money by her doing this is that they will hold events where you can pay to name each of the bears that she knits. And this article over on the BBC is great. She keeps asking the charity, I keep saying, have I sent plenty? Have they got plenty? But they say, no, keep making them. So she does. And there's a fun little picture there of some of the kids, some of the children there who have the teddy bears. And it's a small thing, right? She just sits there and she's knitting these things just because it gives her something to do, makes her happy to do it. And it just brings a little spark of joy and color and brightness to the lives of these children. And then, of course, the money that's raised goes towards various projects that the Zambezi Sunrise Trust does. So she was going to quit when she reached 1,000, but she's still going. She thinks she maybe has done about 1,025 of those. And it just gives her something to do. She gets Facebook messages and cards from the kids saying thank you. And this is just a really fun and clever way, I think, to for this charity to help the people, the children in Zambia. And the other thing I noticed about this particular charity is, let's see if we can get the page up here. Well, here's all the people, which is nice. But I think what we want to see, see, there's a lot of projects that they have going on. I guess it was founded by 2 trustees who worked as volunteer teachers in southern Zambia. And that's when they said, hey, they need some help over there. So they have all these different projects, one for a community school, a primary school, the Linda Sunrise Homework Club, with teaching facilities for local children in the evenings. There's a preschool, so they are very intent on helping children have access to education. And it's great. And as they state here, 100% of any donations go to supporting the children in Africa. This charity has no employees or any other expenses. The trustees who are part of this cover all the operating expenses out of their own pockets. So if you donate money to the Zambezi Sunrise Trust, all of that money is going to help those kids. That's pretty cool. That I've never come across a charity that can claim that 100% of all the money goes to the stated goal of the charity, that there's no operating expenses being taken out of that money. So kudos to them. I will, of course, be linking down to their website at the end of the show. And speaking of the end of the show, that pretty much brings us to the end of the show. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you had fun and found the stories to be engaging and interesting, and maybe it helped start your day off on a little more of a positive note. If you did like the show, do me a favor. After the broadcast today, this stays up as a video on both my YouTube channel, my Facebook page, and my Twitch page. So after the live stream ends, share that video link on your timeline, share it with your friends, put a little note at the top of the article when you share it saying, hey, there's this weird guy in Reno who's sharing positive news stories to help brighten people's day and to help people start their day off on a positive, upbeat note instead of the dreary, really depressing news that we get everywhere else. So thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate all of you for spending time with me. Thank you, Sean. I appreciate it. Thank you for saying the show was great. That's very nice of you. I appreciate it. My little silly show here. If you do like the show and you want to help it grow, you can find me over on Patreon. But again, I love doing this just because it's fun for me. And that's it. I'll stop rambling now and let you go. Until next time, I will see you tomorrow, Thursday, 9 a.m. Pacific time. I'm Ken McKim. You take care, and remember, be kind to one another. It's important.